Hello everybody. This video will be hopefully the first installment in a three-part series of games which is designed to be a sort of full trilogy format where we play a first block game and then a second block game and a third block game with some sense of continuity to the story. The first rule that I'm working with for now in such a format though is that if the shadow side does manage to kill the ring bearer, the game is already over, like entirely. So the only way we are going to make it through to a second block game is if one of these fellowships actually survives and goes to site 9 to win the first block game. That being said, I will try to be as fair and honest as possible, and if the shadow sides are strong, that is how it goes. So these two decks, here's a grudge match. In this matchup, this deck over here is 3-0 right now, with all of its fellowship archery, and this deck, well, is 0-3. We're going to see if that turns around or not at all, and I'm going to go ahead and assume our starting burdens as 0 over here because this deck's strategy is to deliberately go second and to gain site advantage. And this deck, at least in its current state, is designed to go either way and essentially to bid 3 burdens. And then Pippin will remove one of them when we play him. So hey, here's my starting fellowship. Pippin, Hobbit of some intelligence. I'm going to remove a burden. We are going to go ahead and go first, see what the risks are. I will play the Prancing Pony, and then this deck will go ahead and be red. And this deck over here will be blue. And there we are. So I'm going to get started. Draw 8 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It is a strong shadow hand over here, which does not surprise me. Okay. Nevertheless, I'm going to use the Prancing Pony here. So I'm going to add a burden to Frodo and find Aragorn. Things can go pretty bad, but as long as there's an Aragorn. Okay. You stay there. We'll play 4 for Aragorn. Reshuffle. As I mentioned, I have a very strong shadow hand. Nothing to play for my fellowship besides Aragorn from my deck. So I have 4. And then my opponent may play site 2. This is part of why this deck has been losing so much. It keeps going first, but these are slow build-up sort of characters. Well, then why am I doing it? Because these guys want to go second so bad too. And at this point is a challenge. Can I go first and still have something good happen? Stealth events may not be played. Alright. Gonna go over there, shadow side. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Okay. So as a shadow player, I am gonna go ahead and play an Uruk-Hai. That will cost 6. Maneuvers, none of those. Archery, no. Assignment, you may fight Aragorn. Aragorn is going to go ahead and play a Strength of Numenor and become Strength 10 to the Uruk-Hai 9. The Uruk-Hai will respond in kind with a bread for battle and become 12 to Aragorn's 10. Aragorn will play nothing else, lose, take 2 wounds, and discard 2 cards from the top of the deck. Then this minion side will reconcile, and we will toss aside one of these Uruk-Hai. 1, 2, 3, not looking. Don't want to know yet. Then this fellowship is going to think about it. And decide that if we're going to be slow going, we're going to be slow going. We don't want to scrap more cards from our hand. And Aragorn doesn't want to die, and yeah, we're going to be stubborn. We're going to say, no, you stopped us at site 2, whatever. Okay, so there's that. End of the first turn. Let's see what that does for us. Over here we will reconcile, don't need that right now. Oh, actually, never mind. Those are cool. There's a lot of cool happening. I will go ahead and toss one of my Host of Thousands. Alright, draw 2, 1, 2. Alright. This fellowship over here is going to add a burden and find Aragorn. Aw, top card of the deck. Well, he wasn't in my hand, so once again, Aragorn, King in Exile. I'm going to move my discard pile back here. Then I'm going to add Thrarin. There's 4 for Aragorn, 1 for Thrarin. I will play a Dwarven Axe for Gimli for nothing. I'll play Haldir over here for 2. And that'll be good. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 companions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the site cost is going to be 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Alright. I will play Goblin Armory. Each time I play a Moria weapon, I can add 1. And if a Moria orc is about to take a wound, discard this condition to prevent that wound. That's fun. 13. Okay. I will play Host of Thousands and grab that Moria archer troop from over here. So he will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll give him a Moria axe for 1. But then I'll add 1 for my Goblin Armory. Then I'll play a Goblin Marksman for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Maneuvers, no need for Thrarin. Archery, we're at a forest. Legolas will add 1 to the Fellowship Archery total, besides being an archer. So I'm going to go ahead and these guys have 3 archery to send to you. I will take mine to the Goblin Marksman. 1 there and 1 here. We still have until the end of the phase 1, 2, 3 archery to send to the Fellowship. So they're going to take 1 to Legolas, 2 to Frodo. Aragorn can do some healing maybe. Okay, Marksman's out. Then this Fellowship is going to assign the Moria archer troop to Gimli, like so. Okay, Gimli is going to go ahead and play Flurry of Blows for 1. That'll make him strength 10 to my 10. Then he will go ahead and play another 1 and become 12 to my 10. I will use the Moria Archer Troop's ability, on the Moria Axe that is, sorry, become strength plus 2, so I'll be 12 to Gimli's 12. Gimli will go ahead and exert and become 14 to my 12. I have nothing more to say, so I will lose. I'll take 2 wounds. I have 3 archery. I will not use the Goblin Armory. I wouldn't be able to survive anyways. And then Flurry of Blows will go into the discard pile. Then this Fellowship has to decide whether to move, but first we're gonna reconcile. I'm gonna keep this 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And this Fellowship feels confident about moving on. So we will play Site 3. There it is. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. I'll go ahead and play Goblin Flankers for 5, 6, 7. It'll add 3 because the Fellowship has moved on more than once this game. This turn. Yeah. Here's a Moria Axe. Ha ha ha. That will cost 1. That'll add 1. And then, Archery, I have to take 2 because we're at a forest. But I'm alive. Goblin Flankers can go ahead and fight Aragorn. Aragorn has none to say. We have nothing to say. Aragorn can take 2 wounds for losing. Oof. I believe I forgot. I lost to Gimli-Eye to discard a card from the top of my deck. I don't know in reconciling terms what was what, but I'm just going to do one of those. Okay. It was a Hobbit Sword. This is my deck. Okay. Yeah. There goes. Anyhow. Aragorn has taken 2 wounds. This guy's out. Alright. I will reconcile again. Why don't we throw away one of these dagger strikes? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Aragorn cannot heal himself. Boo. Here's a Bounder for 1. Here is Sam for 2. Frodo can have a Hobbit Sword for 0. 1 minus 1. Blade of Gondor to Boromir for 1. I will exert Sam, I think 3 times. Just go all in. Remove Frodo's wounds. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 companions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the site cost is 0. 1, 2, 3, 0, 4, 9. Okay. Opponents have 9. And we are here. I'll keep my hand 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 9, you say? I will play a Uruk Captain for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And a Uruk Soldier for 2. Well, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I may make the Free People's player discard the top card. So, oh, it's the Ranger Sword. That was cruel. I'm gonna miss that a lot. Okay. So, here we are. Maneuvers. No. Archery. No. Assignment. I will give Uruk Soldier to Frodo, because I ain't worried. And then Uruk Captain can go over to Boromir. Okay, so Boromir first. I'm going to play Sentinels of Numenor and become Strength +2, so 11 to my 9. I have nothing to say. I will take 2 wounds because Boromir is damage +1 with the Blade of Gondor, and the Uruk Captain is gone. Then Frodo is 6 to the Uruk Soldier's 7. I don't have anything in particular to say about that, neither does he. Frodo will take 2 wounds for now. And then this fellowship is going to go ahead and decide to not move on. But first these guys are going to reconcile. We'll get rid of the Uruk Scout, maybe? Yeah, okay. And he goes away. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're both on site 3. Aragorn will heal someone who has the Aragorn signet, 1. And then I get to heal 5 wounds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So all that work from the Moria orcs thrown away. Here is a hand axe to Gimli. And I will also go ahead and give a hand axe to Thrarin. Alright, those cost nothing. While you can spot a ranger at Rivendell Waterfall, the move limit is +1 for this turn. So it's a thought. Okay, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 companions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I will ask my opponent to play their site 4. Here it is, the Great Chasm, which will cost 4. The twilight cost of the first Moria archer played this shadow, each shadow phase, is -2. Alright, blue goes to the Great Chasm. Alright, meanwhile over here, I'm thinking, I like my cards. Let's keep them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, well, maybe this is all about sending archery out there. So if I got 9, this would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How about this? I'll play this guy for a grand total of nothing. I'll play Goblin Marksman for 3. I'll go ahead and play the Goblin Flankers right now for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we are. Maneuvers, no. Archery, we have 2. Y'all have 1. So the Goblin Bowman will take the one from Legolas. And we will send 2 that way. So I think for now, Frodo will take 2 wounds. And then assignment, I'm going to send the Marksman to Aragorn and the Flankers to Gimli. Okay, so over here, we're going to have Aragorn fight first. He is 8 to your 7, and I'm going to think about it and say, I'm going to fight you. I'm going to play Drums in the Deep, so I'll become 9 to your 8. Aragorn has nothing to say about that. He will take a wound. Alright. Then, I'm 11 to your 9. Gimli will play Axe Strike, becoming strength 12 to my 11. I have nothing to say about that, so I will take 2 wounds. 1, 2, and I must discard the top card of my deck, which is a Marksman. Okay. Then this fellowship is going to look at it and realize there could be a Moria swarm, depending on the circumstances. There's nothing specifically in this hand to save Frodo, so this fellowship has to stop. Alright. Then I will hold on to my hand. 1, 2, 3. Wow. Okay. And I will get rid of the Goblin Bowman. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At the start of my turn, I will heal Frodo with Aragorn's ability. Then I can heal 5 wounds. 1, 2 off of Aragorn. 3, 4, 5. Alright. Aragorn can have armor, so he will take no more than 1 wound during each skirmish phase. I'm going to go ahead and give Boromir the Flaming Brand, so he will be strength 10. Sure, Sam gets a Hobbit Sword for 1. Pippin can have a Hobbit Sword for 1. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 companions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the site cost is going to be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you've got 8, 12. 5, 7. That doesn't really make a difference then. So I'm going to go ahead and play Uruk Fighter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, 5. And I'm going to give him this Uruk-Hai sword for 1. And then I will play this Uruk warrior. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He may also have a sword for 1. Okay. Maneuvers. No maneuvers. Archery, none to speak of. Assignment. Oh, there was a maneuver. Haha. Uruk Fighter, spot 5 companions to make this minion fierce until the regroup phase. Okay. This guy would have to spot 6 companions, no dice. Then we will assign. I'll have the Uruk Fighter go to Boromir over here. And then I'll go ahead and have Uruk Warrior fight Frodo. Okay. So we'll have Frodo first. I am 6 tier 11. I choose nothing. Shadow chooses nothing. I knew it was in my hand, but just checking. Okay. Frodo will take 2 wounds. And Uruk-Hai's sword says I must discard the top card of my draw deck. No! Wow. In 2 towers, you best be believing, if we make it that far, that we are going into Courteous Halfling. No more discarding. But then there's not going to be any discarding minions at that point anyways. Oh. Okay. Boromir is 10 to your 10. I will go ahead and play Dagger Strike to become 12 to your 10. And we have nothing to say about that. This guy will lose. So we got rid of the Fierce minion. This Fellowship, recognizing that we are going on to site 5. We got a Uruk Warrior out there already. Lots of bad things could happen. You'd have 11. We're gonna go for it. We're charging ahead. Ooh, wow. Okay, we did it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And site cost is gonna be 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Meanwhile, this minion side will have reconciled and said we kind of still want to keep the Dwarven Axe. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. I chose this. Yeah. 11. Here is a Uruk Scout. Here's a Uruk Warrior. Here's a Uruk Fighter. Here's a Uruk Soldier. My Uruk Soldier, why not? Discard the top card. Goblin Scavengers. I'm going through my deck really quick. Being very efficient. Nope. So, maneuvers. This guy's gonna spot 5 companions, become fierce again. we'll just see about that. Archery, no. Assignment, okay. Aragorn feels like taking on the Uruk soldier. Boromir. Oh, he can handle that later. Boromir's gonna go ahead and take on this Uruk warrior over here. This Uruk warrior can go to Frodo. This Uruk fighter can go to Pippin, and this Uruk scout can go to Sam. Alright, let's start at Sam first. Fellowship chooses nothing. Minion side chooses nothing. Sam will take 2 wounds. Aragorn, 8 to 7. Nothing, nothing. Okay, Aragorn wins. Pippin, 5 to 8. I choose nothing. We choose nothing. Pippin will take 2 wounds. Frodo is 6 to your 11. I choose nothing. We have nothing. Shame on us. I will take a wound and a burden. Alright, so the ring is on. Uruk-Hai sword, I have to discard a card. Some Moria archer troop, there goes. Uruk warrior, I'm 10 to your 9. We have nothing to say about it. Damage +1, he dies. My Uruk fighter is fierce. He's gonna go face the lawnmower. Boromir will win and knock him out too. Alright, that was not as bad as I thought. So I was rambling on earlier about this deck kind of also wanting to go second and wanting to build up. Now we have sword, armor, sword, sword, Blade of Gondor, Flaming Brand. It's very like permanent card heavy, but there is some events in there too. It wants a second to think about things. And then it can go up against 5 Uruk-Hai and hold on. Though there was no Saruman, Keeper of Isengard, there was no savagery to match their numbers. That may make an appearance later. Okay, this minion side is going to reconcile. Oh, we'll get rid of a Dwarven Axe. After all this time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what we deserve. Okay. So Aragorn will heal a companion with the Aragorn Signet. That'll be Frodo. Then Farron for 2. He can have a hand axe. So 2 for that guy. Shoulder to shoulder. So if Enquia were to come out, I can move stuff around. Here's an Elven Bow for Haldir. And that's all I gotta say for now. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 companions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the site cost is gonna be 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So, over here, I'm going to hold on to nothing. We'll get rid of Pursuit just behind it. Ooh, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Decent, decent. Oh. Okay. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 16. I'll play a Host of Thousands and retrieve a Moria Archer Troop for 6. Oh, now we have 2 fellowships at 6. Okay. I will play a Moria Axe for 1, but then I'll add 1 per Goblin Armory. I will play another Moria Archer Troop from my hand. And I will play a Goblin Bowman for 2. Maneuvers. Dwarves have 3 hand axes out there. They could make the Fellowship Archery total 5. It doesn't seem all that worth it right now. No, whatever. So we're just gonna say take 2 archery, y'all, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm gonna take 1 to the Goblin Bowman. There he goes, and I will take 1 to this archer troop, and how about another 1 to this archer troop? We may regret that later. Okay. So, y'all can take 5 archery. Frodo will take 1. Legolas will take 1. Haldir will take 1. Ooh. Maybe Legolas will take 2. And Frodo will take 1 more. Okay. Gimli will go ahead and fight this guy. He might feel. He's going to go against the Moria archer troop. This one. The strong one. Okay, and then Farron will take on this Moria archer troop. So, us first. I gotta go over there, take a look. Gimli is 9 to your 10. Ooh. Well, I don't have any skirmish events here. If I exert, you can exert and match me, and your damage +1. If I lose, I take 2 wounds and die. So I'm gonna let that go. Gimli will take 2 wounds over here. This is obviously stupid. I should look at my hand first. Pardon me. As this fellowship, clearly I would know what is in my hand. So Gimli will be 9 to your 8, and however, we will play Drums in the Deep and become 12 to Gimli's 9. Gimli could exert a couple times, but then if he loses, if there's another event in there, then he'll die. So he's just going to accept it. He takes a wound. Then Farron is 8 to your 10. He's going to go ahead and take 2 wounds. And then this fellowship is going to decide that we'd have to take a lot of archery. We don't like the Moria archer troops. We're going to halt and reconcile. Keep 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Well. Meanwhile, we're gonna keep that guy. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, I'm going to heal. I think I'm going to heal. Well, I can't, because he's got a Gandalf signet. So I'm just going to go ahead and heal Mr. Sam. And then I'm going to play there and back again onto Frodo. For nothing. Make a giant mess of my cards. Here. Sights can go back here. Sam's going to move over that way. Pippin. Here. 1, 2, 3. 1 burden. And then I just played it there and back again. That was free. I'm going to give the Saga of Elendil to Boromir. and say, haha, there's no Grima Wormtongue in second block. So there's one for that. I'll play Mary for 1. And that's what I got. Okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 companions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And my opponent can play site 6. It will cost 3. Alright. So I should have 11. So I do. I mean, this is what I got. 4, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3. Alright, so that's a pretty good card. Maneuvers, not that I can think of. Archery, no. Assignment, I'm going to give this Uruk Rager to Boromir. And the Uruk Lieutenant can fight Aragorn, I guess. Sounds good. Boromir is 10 to the Uruk Rager's 9. We are going to play Savagery to match their numbers, making this Uruk Rager strength 13 and fierce, both until the regroup phase. Okay, I'll just keep that out there. Boromir is gonna take a look. Ouch. Boromir will accept the punishment. Ooh. You know what? He's not going to accept that punishment. If I have to lose to you and take 2 wounds, then I may as well lose and take 2 wounds by winning and exerting Boromir twice with the Blade of Gondor. So you are, sorry, 1 at a time. I shall wound you. Does this shadow side have anything to say about it? No. Alright, then I will go ahead and wound you again. You do not win the skirmish. I will not discard the top 2 cards in my deck. You are not fierce until the regroup phase. Alright, you are now 8 to Aragorn's 8. I will go ahead and play Sentinels of Numenor, making you strength 10 to your 8. So, nothing to say over there. This guy will take a wound. And then this fellowship, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We could move on, certainly, but it'd be good to do some repair a little bit, gain some extra things. I don't know. We could end up with a lot of Uruk-Hai, and we don't know what their Site 7 is going to say. We do have a there and back again at the ready. I feel like if it's, yeah, we're at Site 6. If it's going to take us 2 turns to heal, then it's going to take us 2 turns to heal. And I think we can rely on our sites back here if this fellowship really gets ahead. Yeah, we're going to pause. Even though we're feeling strong, we got a lot of wounds. Alright, I'm going to discard Blade of Gondor because Boromir has it already. I'll draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright. And this fellowship is going to hold on to its hand. It's good. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, very good. Aragorn will heal Legolas. Aragorn will have Ranger's Bow. Okay, it's getting ridiculous. I'm gonna start moving extra companions to the support area. Frodo has space though. Don't mind me. Alright. Aragorn gets a Ranger's Bow. This is not an ally, but for spacing issues, Lorien Elf with an Elven Bow back here for 3. I will give Farron an additional hand axe. So there he goes. Yeah, so he could throw both of them. Get a lot of archery. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 companions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the site is going to cost 3. 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay. Yeah. How about it? We will play Moria Archer Troop for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll play Goblin Scavengers for 3. They will play a Moria Axe for our Archer Troop, which will cost 1, and we'll replace 1. 4 left. I will play another Marksman. 1, 2, 3. That was silly of me. Okay. Whatever. These guys are here. Maneuvers. No, but we are at a forest. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 archery. I should have thrown down with another Moria Archer Troop. Whatever. So, we're going to get carpet bombed over here. So much for the Moria Axe. This fellowship, I think, is for good measure, just in case the Shadow's Hide is thinking of using the Goblin Armory. Just going to go ahead and play the double shot. So 6 archery, that's just is what it is. We're going to get cleared out, and y'all can take 3. 1 to the Lorien Elf. 1 to Legolas. 1 to Haldir. Then I'm going to reconcile over here. I like these guys, they're cool. 1, 2, 3. And then this fellowship is thinking about all the archery they've been facing and wonders and thinks they'd like to heal probably and see what they can do with their Uruk-Hai. Or they can go on and get destroyed. They're gonna shoot all the orcs that come after them. That's not gonna be a problem, but yeah. What's in here? Flurry of blows. That doesn't even seem to be a thing anymore. Yeah, this fellowship would like to stay. So they are going to do so. Alright, that means it is my turn over here. I've got my hand. I'm going to heal a wound from Boromir by Aragorn's ability. Then I can heal 5 wounds at his sanctuary. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to give Flaming Brand to Aragorn. So he can be ready with Strength 9 and a hand weapon. That's something. I'm going to transfer the Hobbit Sword from Pippin to Merry, which I have to pay for, so that costs 1. Alright, I have 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 companions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the site cost is going to be 7. Well, no, it's going to be 6, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When the Fellowship moves to Silverload Banks without a ranger, every companion must exert. We don't have to worry about that. Just got those two ready to go. We'll reconcile over here. I don't need the Flurry of Blows anymore. I'm just going to shoot the orcs out of the air. Okay. Then I will play Uruk-Hai Raiding Party for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And Uruk Captain for 3. 1, 2, 3. Uruk Soldier for 2. 1, 2. I'll make you discard the top card of your deck. Moria Axe. And that's what I got. Maneuvers, no. Archery, none. Assignment. I think I will send the Uruk-Hai Raiding Party to oh, you know what? Sorry, back in the shadow phase, I'm going to remove one with Uruk Captain's ability. Exert him to play an Uruk-Hai from my discard pile. So I will go ahead and find this Uruk Warrior. Okay. Then maneuvers, he's going to be fierce, spotting 6 companions. And then we will assign. So Aragorn can have this guy. We have Boromir face the Uruk-Hai Raiding Party. We want to get rid of the fierce guy, don't we? I mean, Boromir is pretty confident he can fight him. Maybe that's alright. Let's give this Uruk Warrior to Pippin. Ooh. And then Uruk Captain can go over and fight Merigorn. That sounds about right. Okay, so we're going to start over at Aragorn first. I'm going to be 9 to your 7. Do you want to say anything about it? No. Okay. He goes. Then Merry, I am 7 to your 9. Anything to say about it? No. Alright. Merry will take 2 wounds. Then Boromir is 10 to your 9. We will play Savagery to match their numbers, making this guy 13 and fierce until the regroup phase. Well, he's big. 13 and fierce. Then I'd have 2 fierce guys. I think we are going to go ahead and try. I will play Dagger Strike to make Boromir's strength 12 to your 13, and I will discard the Saga of Elendil, which makes me +2, so I'll be 14 to your 13. This guy has nothing to say about it, and this made him damage +1 as well as his Blade of Gondor, so this guy will take 3 wounds and die. Then Pippin is being overwhelmed. He would be taking too many wounds to survive anyways, so Pippin will go. That gives us a little more space. Sorry, Pippin. Then we will have This guy, he's fierce. He can go and fight Boromir. I will be 10 to your 9. I will accept it. I will die. Then, out of this hand, we will play Pursuit just behind. Exert a ranger companion to wound every minion. So we're going to exert Aragorn to wound this guy. And then we will go ahead and move on as is. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 companions. And then y'all can play site 8. The Gates of the Argonath, which will be 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, we'll reconcile. Suddenly it doesn't matter what we keep in our fellowship cards, so get rid of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oof. Well, I can play Uleri Neritier for 4, and I spot 1 companion over 4, so I can play 1 minion. Who's the strongest? Probably the Uruk-Hai raiding party. There he is. So he gets 4. Alright, maneuvers, no. Archery, none. Assignment. Aragorn has a flaming brand, so Neritier is not going to have a good day. We will assign the Uruk-Hai raiding party to Boromir. So, Aragorn crushes. Boromir will play Savagery to match their numbers. Ugh. 13 to your 10. This time I got nothing to say about it. I will take my 2 wounds. And in your fierceness, you may fight Aragorn, who has the armor, and he will go ahead and take a wound. Alright, that's it. So we will reconcile over here. We have to get rid of stuff. Try to draw minions. Try to get ready. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and heal Legolas. And then I get to heal 5 wounds because I'm at a sanctuary. 1 for Aragorn. 1 off of Frodo. Another off of Frodo. Gimli and Heldir. Then, over here, we'll play another Lorien Elf with a bow for 1, 2. We'll play Frore, getting stuff out of our hands for 2, and giving lots of... He can have a Dwarven Axe, for Zip, Ranger Sword for Aragorn, be 1. Lorien Elf, Elven Bow, Frore, Ranger Sword. This isn't a thing. Okay. Then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 companions. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we'll move on to site 6. We have a ranger, so no worries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Over here, I'm going to reconcile away like that. 1, 2, 3. We are out of deck. What we have is what we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Someone wasn't discarding our deck the whole time. At the end of the game, we have 2 goblin armories. Oh, so that weapon machine is just so ready to go now. Oh, you hear my pain? Let's go with a goblin flankers for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Host of Thousands. We'll play another goblin flankers. for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's what we got. Maneuvers, no. Archery, well, I'm seeing 1, 2, we're at a river, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because this is who we have, we're gonna protect each of them, prevent a wound to each of them. So they'll take 2 wounds. 1, 2, 1, 2. We will assign then. Goblin flankers can go to Gimli. Aragorn can go over here, fight this guy. Okay. So Gimli is strength 9 to your 11. He doesn't really have anything to say about it though. And anyways, I'm going to become 15. Fine. So Gimli can take a wound. Aragorn can take a wound. And his fellowship has no threat from these minions, but has no reason to keep going because they are not going to add to their move limit. So they will end their turn as I skew cards every which way. I'm going to refresh this a little bit. Aragorn. Okay, so this turn I'm going to heal Boromir 1. Ooh, hope that's for the best. I think I will allow Sam to be as is. Here's a Shield of Boromir for 1. So I'll take away the strength of weapons. I already have there and back again, so I can't play another one. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 companions. My opponent will play site 9. There it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We'll move on. Over here, we'll keep what we have in hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Play up to 3 trackers from your discard pile and your shadow phase. Well, with 15, here's 4. Uruk Soldier for 2. Nothing to discard there. Well, whatever. Then I will play this Uruk Scout from my hand. 1, 2, 3. And is it better to... Yeah, it is. We're gonna play just 2 more Uruk Scouts from our discard pile as they are trackers. There's 1. And there's 1. So... Okay. Maneuvers. I will discard there and back again to make each of my hobbits strength +2 until the regroup phase. Archery, no. Assignment, I'm going to give the Uruk Soldier to Frodo. That's going to be rude. Uruk Scout can go to Mary. Uruk Rager can go to... Whew. I'll lose. Oh, no. Yeah. Could still be bad. Boromir. Uruk Scout can go to Aragorn. And then this Uruk Scout can go to Sam. So, Aragorn is 9 to your 7. I think this guy will go ahead and play Bread for Battle. And he will become strength 10 to Aragorn's 9. Aragorn, look at, oh yeah, nothing. Aragorn will take a wound. He's got the armor. Okay. Then, Mary is strength 9 to your 7. We will accept take a wound. Sam is strength 7 to 7. He will take 2 wounds. Frodo is going to play... Oh. Yeah. He's going to go ahead with power according to his stature. Add a burden. Wound the Uruk soldier. Like, he doesn't even need to. I'm 8 tier 7. Forget that. Forget that. I'm beating you. You sure are. I'll die. Okay. Boromir is 10 tier 9. We're going to play Savagery to match their numbers. Rude. So 13 to Boromir's 10. And... Boromir can't say anything about that. Well... Fine. Boromir is going to at least wound you. And then Boromir will die. That'll be it. There he goes. He did a great job. He was cutting down Uruk-Hai left and right. We just had so many savagery to match their numbers happening. Okay. Then this Uruk Rager will go ahead and fight Frodo in his fierceness. There's a reason I'm doing this, and it's because, well, I'll explain later. Clearly, we don't want Frodo to die. We don't want to put him at risk. In a normal game, you just send him to whoever you want. But I'm thinking through this last turn because there are ramifications for the next games, which are going to happen. So, this guy's 13. Frodo, for now, what we're going to do is exert Bounder. So, he needs to have his strength triple to be overwhelmed. We have nothing more to say, so Frodo will just take 2 wounds. 1, 2. And discard the top 2 cards of my deck. That's the end of the game. This fellowship wins, so we would go on to the Towers block game. Completely separately, this deck was stubborn at the beginning of the game and stopped at site 2 because it wasn't ready yet. Because the opening hand was 6 shadow cards and 2 free people's cards. But finally, after it stopped and reconciled, it wound up with maybe 6 fellowship cards. On the next turn, it was ready to move to site 3. And that really got its momentum going. It's just not a strong go first kind of a deck. And there are lots of reasons for that. But just looking at it really quickly, Boromir loses gracefully. Merry loses gracefully. Aragorn heals people after they lose. Sam is a great character, but, you know, Hobbit. There are lots of Hobbits in this deck. This deck is survivable. It's durable. So it withstands shadow attacks, but it's not ready to handle, like, there's nothing built into the starting fellowship to protect it from a swarm. It has to build up cards in its hand. And that requires having a good opening hand or waiting until the cards come in, like on a second turn. It's ugly, you know, going first and stopping at site 2. But it's what it needed, and it worked out. And this fellowship over here, they stopped at site 6. Partly, I know what's going on with my own sites, and what would have happened to them if they were soldiering on is they would have eventually gone to the Anduin Banks and had to take 2 archery for every companion over 4. Even if they were still just at the 7, that would be 6 additional archery plus whatever Moria archer troops I put out there. That would have been real bad. And if they had gone on through site 6, so they were ahead of the game, they wouldn't have healed their 5 wounds. And they'd have had one less turn with Aragorn anyways, healing his wound at the beginning. Yeah, they would have gotten destroyed if they stomped on ahead to, you know, past site 6. So, this deck finally gets a win. It feels right. And next part is explaining exactly what happens once a game is won by a fellowship side. So switching gears, here are our Towers block decks. This is, on the same side of the table, this is the Towers block deck for our imagined player who is just running the Boromir Hobbit deck. And then over here we have a Ringbound Ranger deck. This would be in the set of decks for the player who is just running the Dwarven Elven Archery deck. So when someone wins with their fellowship side and survives, you go on to the next block, and I will just read out sort of the draft that I have so far here. So, rules for Lord of the Rings full trilogy format. 1, both players bring 3 separate complete decks, 1 in first block, 1 in second block, and 1 in third. That's simple enough. You have your decks ready, so whatever happens, those are the decks that you're bringing. 2, play begins with the fellowship block decks, which we just saw, with all standard rules in place. We bid to see who goes first, first player puts down their site, and you play a game as you would expect in a fellowship block. 3, if a shadow side gets a win at any point in any game, the whole game is concluded. Winner is that shadow player. So you have to watch out that your ring bearer doesn't die. That brings the story to a halt. 4, if a fellowship side makes it to site 9 and survives in that fellowship block game, or perhaps in this one, in the Towers block game, that game is immediately concluded and both players move to the next block with the following rules. So we just finished the fellowship block game. We are now going on to the second block, the Towers block game, and we're going to observe these rules. A, the winner from the previous block plays their site 1 for the next block and goes first. So I would throw down mine, the Plains of Rohan, and this deck is going to go first. 2, both players create a new starting fellowship with a total Twilight cost of 4. Characters can be selected from the new deck or kept from a player's fellowship as it stood at the end of the prior game. So at the end of my last game, I had an Aragorn who had a flaming brand and an armor. That's a pretty cool setup. Merry from More the Brandywine, who had a Hobbit sword. I had a Sam ready to go. He also had a sword. And then Frodo had a sword. He had discarded there and back again, so he wouldn't have that anymore. But if any characters are kept from the prior game as part of the next game's starting fellowship, the owning player may keep any number of fellowship cards in play which were on that character at the end of the prior game. That player must pay the total Twilight cost of those cards which were kept at the beginning of their first turn. So if I decided I want to keep Aragorn from last turn, that version of Aragorn with his flaming brand and his armor, then at the beginning of my first turn, I'd pay the 0 Twilight for the flaming brand and the 1 Twilight for the armor that's on him. And I can't elect to keep him. Of course, if I do, that's the 4 Twilight cost of my starting fellowship. So you're still starting with a total Twilight cost of 4. So D, players may select a new version of Frodo and a new version of the ring from their new deck. So this is still Frodo, but this is now Frodo Courteous Halfling, and I've got the answer to all the riddles. Over here we now have Frodo Tired Traveler, still the same basic ring. This makes me think, we'll get into that in a second, sorry. E, all wounds are removed from companions. So if you kept somebody from the last game in your starting fellowship, they're healed. And Frodo ended over here with 2 wounds at the end last time. His wounds are healed, he takes a break, all is well for him. Finally, Frodo starts the game with the same number of burdens as were on him at the end of the prior game. So he ended the game with 1 burden. This is still Frodo from that story, so he's going to maintain the 1 burden he had before. Finally, 5, dead piles apply only to single games for the sake of spotting characters in the dead pile. For example, on Uruk-Hai, which say if you have like 3 characters in the dead pile, they're fierce or that sort of a thing. That does not add up from the last time. But if a unique character is ever placed in a dead pile, no copies of that character may be played in any future game. So last game, this deck didn't, I mean not this deck, but this player in their Dwarven, Elven archery deck didn't have any companions die. They don't have anything to worry about. Over here, these decks were chosen beforehand. I lost Boromir and Pippin, which is already proving to be an obvious problem for this Ent deck that I brought, because Pippin is part of the starting fellowship, normally, because Pippin and Merry subtract from Quickbeam's Twilight cost, and you want 2 Unbound Hobbits to be able to help the Ents out. Pippin, though, died, and this is a full trilogy format. We're keeping the story consistent. Pippin is no longer around. Now, because there's this obvious example right here of, wow, you didn't expect Pippin dying to be such a big problem, but here it is in this Ent deck, and he really is missed. That's not great. I would be, I think, very open to changing that idea about not bringing companions back. I love the thematic idea of keeping the story, but at the very least, like, if you're well aware of these rules ahead of time, then the 3 decks that you bring would very likely have as few intersecting companions as possible. So it wouldn't be surprising in a deck like my Fellowship Block deck, where I literally have Pippin in the starting Fellowship, to get rid of that burden and then to die fighting like one of my opponent's strongest minions. If I know that's the Fellowship Block deck that I'm going to use, then thinking it through, and you can see I'm piecing this together, I wouldn't go ahead and then use a Towers Block deck that would need Pippin at the outset. So if you're aware of these rules, and the rule is that companions who die can't show up in another game, then there's strategy to building the decks for all 3 games where you're not trying to repeat companions. I still feel like it's a thematically strong idea, as I mentioned, and there are companions who work well like in any deck, like Aragorn, who you have a strong incentive to use in more than just one deck, regardless of the risk. So maybe it still makes sense for that rule to be there, and you just really have to watch out that you don't get Aragorn killed. And that's just sort of the consequence of losing. As it is, I'm going to stick with that rule as I have it. I'm going to see what happens. Pippin died in the first story, so he's not going to be here. And that's going to prove a hindrance for this Ent deck. And that's okay. We'll see what happens. To put a cap on all of that, the reason I would remove that rule is not because, oh, I'm incensed that I'm missing Pippin, like I wish he was here, even though I do wish he was here. It's actually because you could plan ahead for that. You could choose your decks in such a way that you don't lose companions you need. And that just kind of, that changes deck style, and that changes like the need for the rule. It makes its own self obsolete. I don't know. If you're watching, if you have any thoughts on that, let me know what you think. So to conclude, this is the deck belonging to the player who just won the previous game. They were the red token. This player was the blue token. They lost Pippin to the dead pile. Pippin died in the previous game, so Pippin is not showing up here. And that's it. And this fellowship will go first, and this fellowship will go second. Frodo and Frodo both had a burden at the end of last game, so they're going to keep their burden. Ah, yes. This brings me to my last point. I didn't even think of this before, but suppose you had Sam out in a game, Frodo died, and the ring went to Sam. I suppose by the logic of these rules, and by the logic of the thematic element of the story, that would mean that you could no longer use Frodo, and that you would have to keep Sam from the previous deck. Or if you had another version of Sam ready to go in like your next deck, then you could pivot to that one maybe. In that case, I think we would use third block, like Reflections rules, where Sam's 2 Twilight doesn't count against your total starting fellowship. He's the ring bearer. So even though like we might be in a Towers block game with Sam bearing the ring, we'd still borrow that element from Series 9 and just say, he's the ring bearer. He doesn't cost anything extra. Okay, those are the basic thoughts. So the next installment would be these 2 decks going against each other. And thank you very much for watching. We'll hopefully be able to get that game soon.